Hello, I've created an AI email agent to automatically send an email to my contacts just through talking to it with chat message. I'm going to show you exactly how I did this step by step with no code. So hopefully you can do this yourselves. And this is obviously a very easy example of what you can do with an AI agent, but it's a good starting point for anyone who wants to start learning. And just to show you what I mean, can you ask Potter lunch tomorrow? So just by talking to it over chat message, it will execute the workflow, and it says it has been done successfully. So here we go. Is this the one? I've just been messing around with it previously as well. So I'm just, yeah, okay. This new one just came through. Hi, Harry, what would you like for lunch tomorrow? So I'm going to show you exactly how I did this, and let's get straight into it. To start with, we want to create a new workflow. And the first thing we want to do is we have our contact details. So there are many ways to do this, but what I've done is put my contact details into a Google document. And when you have this document, you want to put it into a separate database for the LLM to access. So in this case, we have used the second database to be Pinecone. And I'm going to show you exactly how I've connected this through N8N. So to start with, we want to add a manual trigger. And the first workflow is, as I said, just going to put the contact into Pinecone. So we don't need to configure this. But the next step we will need to configure, which is our Google Docs. And it is get a document. So find this node, and what you're going to want to do is hook up your Google account into N8N. And so I've already done this, so I won't go into complete details of how you get your credentials on there. But basically, the easiest thing to do is follow this Open Docs link, and you'll see a video here. So you can follow it if that's what you prefer, or you can follow a video. And it shows exactly what you need to do to set your credentials up inside N8N. And it's super simple, but I won't go through the details of that because it will be a little bit time consuming. And all you need to do is fill in your client ID and client secret, essentially. Close. So once we've connected our credentials up, we want to have our resource as document, operation as get, and then we want to input the document ID. And our document ID of our contacts page is this part of the URL. Just here, in between the two brackets. And we want to save that into here. Okay, and if we want to check it's been done properly, just click execute step. And you can see that all the data has been pulled from that document. You can see right there. And what we can also do is, in fact, pin this data. And this is helpful because it's basically like a checkpoint. We don't need to continuously execute the whole workflow, which is really useful for when you start making more complex ones and you don't want to execute the whole thing. Okay, and the next thing we want to do is put the Pinecone vector store node in, and we want to add documents to a vector store. Okay, and similarly with this one, you're going to want to connect your credentials. And this is a lot more simple than the Google one because all you need to do is, in fact, put in an API key here. So create an account with Pinecone, and you'll find your API keys just here, and you just want to copy this in. But so once you've created actually your Pinecone account, you do want to have a little bit of configuration here, and I'll start from the beginning. We want to create an index, and we'll create our index as document upload. Oh, okay, document. And how about contact upload? And the only part that you're going to want to pay attention to, in fact, is this part, is the type of LLM you want to choose. And so I've chosen text embedding 3 small, just because I know that I've used it and it suffices for what we're trying to do. And the only thing you're going to pay attention to is this dimension part. So purely because I've tested it before and it errored when I had it 512, we want to choose the dimensions to be 1536. And the only reason is because in N8N, when the documents are sent to Pinecone, the dimensions that it sends it in is 1536. And that's probably, you can configure it on N8N side as well, or you can configure it on this side to match up. And then you just want to create index, and that should be okay. Yes, we can see contact upload is our index here. So if we go back to N8N, we want to, hopefully it should come up here. Yeah, contact upload even. And embedding batch size, keep as 200. That's fine. I mean, contact details, there's really not much information in it. And that should be all fine. Just looking at, oh yeah, we can input a Pinecone namespace. So let's just call it contacts. And this is the title of the information you're uploading into Pinecone. So I'm not executing the step yet because there's some more configuration to be done. Here, we want to input default data loader. And basically what this is just configuring how to upload the data of your contacts into the vector database. So we can definitely keep text splitting as simple because it's every 1,000 characters, which is much more than what we are dealing with in the contacts. However, if we want to put custom, I'm just going to show you how to do this step. So we put custom here, and then it comes up with a text splitter. We can put a token splitter, and this is where you decide the size of chunks, so the size of the data that you're going to put into the vector database. We'll put that as 200. And then the embedding, we want to choose embeddings OpenAI. And again, this should be the last credential that you connect, but you want to connect your OpenAI account. And again, it's similar to the Pinecone one. It's just an API key. Let me see. Yeah, so you'll find it in your OpenAI account here, and you'll find your secret key here, or create a new secret key. So you can put that right there, but I've already done that. And what we want to pay attention to here is to make sure that the model that we're using is the same as the one that we're using in the Pinecone console. So we deliberately chose embedding 3 small. I'm just checking to see, we don't need to pay attention to the other options for now. And this should be all okay. So if we execute the workflow, providing we don't get any errors, so it's all executed fine. We're going to just double check this. So in our Pinecone console, yeah, we can see, so contacts namespace has been uploaded here, contacts here. Perfect. So this is exactly, it's done what we wanted it to do. Let's save this. And now our contacts are in the Pinecone database, or the Pinecone vector store. I should start calling it that. Now let's start another workflow. And this one is, so the first one we're going to start with is, there are 2 more workflows we're going to do. The first one is our AI agent and how it processes the data it takes from the vector store. And then we're going to execute another workflow, which is the creating of the email, or sending even if you want it to be. So the first trigger we're going to have here is on chat receipt. So let's have an on chat message. This is fine. We can just leave it as configured like that. And then we're going to add our AI agent. And so the AI agent here We have a lot of different options, but this is just one that I've previously used and know to work fine for this example. And we're okay. We're okay here. We're going to configure it. Let's have a look. So in tool, we want to have our pinecone vector store. And so here in this tool option of the AI agent, this is where it chooses, this is where it accesses its memory, let me say, and it will retrieve. So because we're using retrieve documents, in fact, retrieve documents vector store. So no, for this one, we can just leave it as that. And as a description, we can say contact details vector database. So we have a pinecone. We can choose our pinecone index from list. Contact upload. We're fine here. Okay, I think we're fine from here because we're just going to double check that this is what I called it, contacts. Okay, so we add contacts. We configure it like this, and this is similar to how we just configured the previous one. It's just that we're now retrieving the document rather than uploading our data to the vector database. Let's pull this down here. Now, the chat model that we use, we want to have an OpenAI chat model. And again, for this one, I found that GPT-4o works nicely. That's fine. No, we're okay here. And we're also okay here. I'm going to leave this as is. Okay. And the last thing we do want a require, okay. So what we do want to have here though, so we're going back to just AI agent. What we do want is to require specific output format. And the reason being is, so the AI agent is an LLM and it will return the results just as a text body. But if we're going to put it into another node like Gmail, we're going to need the information to be displayed in a certain way. And by doing this, we add another option here to be as parser. And structured output parser, here we can structure exactly what we want our output to look like. Now, I'm going to leave this as is for now. I'm going to come back to this later. The last thing I'm going to do, let's have a look here. Oh, and the final one, we do want embeddings OpenAI and embedding 3 small. Yeah, just make sure we have that configured as well. Yeah. And by the way, when I was talking about dimensions previously, this is also, I mean, on the previous workflow, this is where you would access the dimensions. So the last one, so what this workflow is going to do is the AI agent is going to understand what you're going to say to it in the chat message. It's going to receive a message via the chat, then it's going to process it, and depending on the prompt that we give it, we're going to have, it's going to be able to access the pinecone vector store to find the contact details, and then it's going to structure the output as we will have described in this output parser. And then the final step is we want it to execute another workflow. And this other workflow is just a good habit to get into, to keep to make sure you have your chunks of logic together in one section and separated. So we want to execute another workflow, execute sub workflow. Here we go. Okay, and so we can we want to create a sub workflow here, and this is going to bring me to a new workflow, which I will configure now. And this workflow, let's call this, oh, before I forget, let's go back. Let's call this chat processing. And let's call my sub workflow draft creation. Okay. So we have this node, it will come in, and then let's get rid of that. What we want is our Gmail. And because we've already connected our Google account, it should be a very quick one to configure. But what we can do here, we just want to create a draft. Let me have a look. Create a draft. I missed it here. And we've already connected our Google account, so this should be relatively simple. Draft, operation create, subject. We want that to be an expression because that's going to be from what we pull in as our data. Text as email type, that's fine. We want our message to be an expression. We also want to know who we're sending the email to. So make sure this is as an expression as well. And I mean, just to keep it really basic, this is exactly what we're going to have for now. And so this is all fine. And we're going to go back to here. And what we're going to do here is we want to add, so in our other workflow, we will receive the directions that the AI agent will produce. And what we want to get from that is who we're going to send the message to, what the message is going to be, and what the subject is going to be. So those are the three things that we want to have. Those are the three pieces of information what we want to have. So what we're going to, this is the workflow input schema, and we're going to put 2. Add another field. Let's have subject here. And then the final field will be message. And just to test this workflow, we can put in test data. And the way we're going to do that is by inputting a JSON query here. Now, this is really, really low code, so nothing to get scared about. But I'm just going to take away here, and you can copy exactly what I'm putting to, and we're just going to copy this all over. So yeah, we're just going to fill this all in like so. And basically, what this will do is this. Oh, it's because I put an extra comma there. So if I save this, this will pin the data, and this is just an example data set that I can use to test the rest of the workflow. So I can put in fact, a fake email address, subject, a message if I wanted to, but it's not really necessary for now. However, if we do go over here, now we can see that we have these variables. And so I can pull this variable into the place I want it to have, to be. So our 2 is going to go to the email to email. This is going to be the email address that we use. The subject is going to be here. and the message is going to be here. This is fine. And if we execute this step, it should actually create a draft with absolutely nothing in it, I believe. Here we go. Yeah, a draft with absolutely nothing in it. Okay, perfect. So that seems to work as we want it to. The last thing we want to have in this one is an edit fields node. And the reason being is we just want to have, so this is going to be the response that we send back to the previous workflow to just know that the workflow has been executed properly. So our response is going to be sent. Super simple configuration, nothing else needed on this one. And let's save that here. Now, this is what the final workflow is going to be. If we go back to our other workflow automation, I believe, by the way, if I'm not wrong, it's all good. Okay. I think you may need to publish it later, but I will just test it without. What we're going to need here is to add a system message. And at the moment, it just says you are a helpful assistant, but this is where actually ChatGPT can be quite useful. So I'm going to go into ChatGPT and just ask it to create me a prompt. Create me a system prompt for N8N AI agent. Create me a system prompt for N8 agent. Which will automatically send. In fact, one thing I just realized will speed this up is if we take this, we can actually copy the whole thing, and then ChatGPT knows it takes it as a JSON data, and ChatGPT will understand this workflow as is, and it will come up with can you just create me a system prompt for the AI agent node? And let's see what it comes up with. If it doesn't come up with anything that is worth putting in, we will change it. But this looks actually pretty good. So we're just going to copy this and put this into our AI agent system message. This is okay, baby rules. All right, let's try this. Okay. Now, I believe, let's save this. Everything should be almost ready. Okay, the final thing is we do want to have our output structure to be the same as what we're expecting in this part of the last workflow. So if we can just do that, in fact, let me see if that works. It'll be easier if I just, so we have two. Doesn't matter exactly what we put in here. It's just the kind of structure that we want to make obvious. Subject. Let's take away these brackets. Just do lunch for an example, and then we want message, and then hello world. Classic for computer engineers. Right. Kind of, we could put an email address, but it's just the structure that it's important in this one. And let's execute this workflow. So let's test this out. So let's try asking it. And can you ask Harry Potter what he wants for dinner tomorrow? let's see what happens. If it errors, we'll just kind of go through it and see where. Here we go. So it seems like it's worked fine up until this point. And this is pretty good. Like, you can see exactly the information that's being put through. The workflow is not active. Okay, so the reason here is because this needs to be published. This is the only reason. Let's say version 1. Publish. Got it. That's fine. So let's just actually try that again. Let's try another one. Can you ask Harry Potter what his favorite color is? Ooh, still not working here. Now let's have a look. Oh yeah, and of course, so we have the structured output, and we do need to put it. So we need to connect it into what the other workflow is expecting. So I've just forgotten to do that. That's fine. That's fine. Execute step. And it says node executed successfully in this one. So should all be fine. What did I ask you? What its favorite color was? Let's hope. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. What's your favorite color? Hi, and your name. So, I mean, there are, of course, details that we can iron out. And just to show, I mean, Harry Potter, I've put as my contact details. So this is exactly what I expect to see there. But all in all, this is how it works. And this is just a super simple example of what you can do with an AI agent. And in the following videos, we'll hopefully go a little bit more complicated. But there you have it.